everyone, welcome to Baby Boo Bakes. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make my favorite biscuits. 1, 2, 3 biscuits. So before we get started, you may have guessed it, but 1, 2, 3 biscuits only requires 3 ingredients, so you'll need very little ingredients for this, but you'll need a lot of equipment. So let's get on to equipment. Firstly, you're going to need a pan, which we'll spray and cook later, but for now you just need a pan for your biscuits, a bowl, a sieve, an electric scale, a spoon and a measuring jug. And you may want some shapes for your biscuits, but that's not important until later. So let's go. Okay, right in front of me I have our 3 ingredients that I have just measured out on my electric scale, so you don't need the measuring jugs to measure this time, but just to store the ingredients in. So what you're going to need is half a pound of caster sugar, 1 pound of margarine, and 1.5 pounds of flour. In case you just realized, it's also in the ratio of 1:2:3, hence 1, 2, 3 biscuits. Right, now before we get started, I just need to add one quick note. What I'll be making today is a full batch of 1, 2, 3 biscuits. As you can see, it uses a lot of flour, but it's really easy just to half the recipe, which I usually do when I make them, and then you'll just end up with half the amount of biscuits. So quick and easy. Right, let's get baking. Sorry guys, one quick note I forgot to mention. This margarine needs to be really soft to make 1, 2, 3 biscuits. So if I was you, I'd leave it out the night before like I do, or take it out in the early morning to soften if you're making it in the late afternoon. So now let's really get baking. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is cream together the caster sugar and your melted margarine. Make sure to cream in really well before adding your flour. Right, now that is all really nicely creamed together, I'm now going to start sieving the flour in. Because there is a lot of flour, it's a very long process, so I just do a little bit at a time and sieve it slowly so that it does not mess up the bowl. Okay, now that I have sieved in half the flour, I'm going to mix it in to my creamed butter and caster sugar until I can no longer see any flour, and then I will add the rest of the flour. Okay, oh my gosh, okay, so now that I have finished mixing in the flour, sorry, I just can't fix this, okay. Now that I've finished mixing in the flour, you'll see it's quite crummy and everything. So now it's time to knead. To knead, you just take all the ingredients off your spoon and just literally start squishing it all together. Okay, now that you've kneaded, you should be able to pretty much pick up your dough to make your biscuits. So now you're going to plump it back down into your bowl and get your trays ready for shape making. Okay, before getting started, you're going to want to grease your pan so that your biscuits do not stick on your pan. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to grab a small amount of dough and you just kind of press it onto your pan. Not too thick and not too thin, because it'll burn if it's too thin and it'll take forever to cook if it's too thick. And you're going to grab your shape. I'm doing hearts because it's Valentine's Day next week, and you're simply going to just push it in and remove the excess dough from around your heart or whatever shape you do, and lift it up and you have a perfect heart. So now I'm going to go ahead and do all the rest of the hearts and I'll get back to you. As you can see, I've made all my hearts, and now because I didn't want to make too many biscuits today, I put the rest of the dough concealed in cling wrap and I'll put it in the fridge so that it'll be okay for me to make biscuits either tomorrow or any other time this week. Right, so let's head to put these in the oven. Okay, it's important to note here that some of my biscuits I've put sprinkles on and others glitter, but some like these I haven't put anything on because later on in the video, stick around, I'm going to be icing them. So these ones won't have any sprinkles or glitter on them. So I'm going to put them in the oven, and you can't really tell, there's no set time to wait, you just kind of have to hang around and watch. They don't take too long, and wait for them to be ready. It's pretty easy to tell, but I'll show you what they look like when they're ready. 6 minutes and I'm pretty sure the biscuits are ready now. So I'm going to open, and yes, they are. As you can see, they've got a dark brown kind of rim on the outside of them, and they look very nice. Okay, so my biscuits have been here for a while now and they've just been cooling, so now I know they're not too hot to touch. So I'm gently going to just remove them with this knife. They should come off really easily, and just lay them on my cooling racks. You can now eat them because they're ready, but however, if you want to ice them, you have to leave them on the cooling racks for a little bit longer, just so there's no moisture at the bottom of them, and then I'll show you how to ice them in a second. Okay, let's get to the icing. What you're going to need is a bowl or a jug of icing sugar, whatever food coloring color you want to make the icing, or you can just make it white, and then you're going to need boiling water. So what you're going to need to do is you need to grab a teaspoon and just gently start pouring water into here. Remember, if you put too much, it becomes way too runny, and if you put too little, it becomes all sticky. So you have to put exactly the right amount. I will start off with like 2 teaspoons of my amount of icing sugar, and then mix it in to see how it looks. Okay, my icing is now perfectly done. I'm now going to add my food coloring. I'll probably have to make more icing to finish the batch of biscuits, but for now, this should be enough. You just add a very small little amount of food coloring and mix it in. So I want mine to be red for Valentine's Day, but whatever color you want will work. Right, grabbing your knife, you're going to put a little bit on the edge of your knife and simply a little bit on the biscuit. You don't want to put too much, otherwise it becomes too rich and sweet. So just enough to cover it and to make it look pretty. Us to the end of this video. Please make sure you like and subscribe to my channel, and comment below if you make them and how you found them. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.